Zomboys and zombie girls, welcome to the Salty Dog Podcast.
Let's get salty!
What's up, guys? I'm Clash. He's Dookie. Welcome to another episode of the Salty Dog Podcast.
Hey, I remembered to unmute my mic at the very last second, so that's definitely good.
Yeah, that's how it's done in the professional podcasting arena.
Our 16th episode, and we're finally getting the hang of this.
Maybe. Still some kinks to work out.
Yeah, for sure.
So, how has your week in Hearthstone during this glorious Midsummer Fire Festival been?
Glorious is a good word for sure. Just farming gold.
Isn't that the best?
Doing it in the really fun tavern brawl.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No.
You like the tavern brawl too? Because I thought it, like, at first I was like, oh, this is just gonna be nonsense, kind of like last week's brawl with the patches crap. But this is actually, I think, a lot of fun. I've managed to find like a lot of different strategies in there that have worked for me, rather than just like your standard druid innervate out the vicious fledgling thing.
Right. I mean, that's the first thing that like stood out to me. I didn't use druid, but like I was just going through, what cards would be absolutely busted with charge, and I was like, oh, vicious fledgling.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, you're slapping two keywords onto a card, so basically all you really got to try to do is pick cards that don't have either.
That don't have
charge.
those, yes.
And then they just become amazing.
Yeah, my first instinct was Divine Shield.
Yeah.
Which still, it was very, very viable. There were a few, I don't know if you want to talk about specific cards, but there were a few things that I toyed with that I really had a lot of fun with.
Tell me. What were they?
Okay, I used Mage primarily. One card that was insane was Snow Chugger.
Oh, okay.
Snow Chugger just shut things down and fast. Blood Knight was really good because I could drop things that had Divine Shield, attack with them, then throw him out, eat the Divine Shields, attack with him.
That was one of my strategies.
Yeah.
Like I've used, I think, 3 or 4 different classes now, and for Paladin I used all Divine Shields and Blood Knight.
Yep.
And that was pretty good.
Raging Worgen was like a mini Vicious Fledgling. Water Elemental was amazing. High health, you can freeze something. And for his attack and health for his mana cost, you're getting a really insane minion there. I was toying with Faceless Manipulator, just because copying things is fun.
True.
I had a variation of my deck where I was running Finja and a couple Murlocs.
Yeah, I thought of that. I never got around to doing it, but that struck me. I was like, wait, Finja with charge?
Yeah.
That's
But my MVP that nobody, maybe not MVP, but like, sleeper agent that I didn't see a lot was Frozen Crusher.
Oh, okay.
Because he comes out, slams into something, and then you have an 8/8 taunt. Regardless of if he's frozen, you still have an 8/8 taunt.
True, yeah, the taunt really does make him a lot better. I didn't think about that. I think I maybe saw him once, but what I was seeing a lot of was the Bittertide Hydra. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to put that in my deck. So I'm like, I go to my filters, okay, click, start typing Bittertide. It's like, you don't have any cards that have that in their name. I'm like, no, I don't. How do I not have any of this card? It's so weird when you find like random epics that you just don't have still.
It's like, am I gonna craft this just for a tavern brawl?
The answer for me was no.
Nah. No, like that's why I don't disenchant my my old wild cards. Because I'd like to be able to bring them in a tavern brawl and be like, I have this relic of the past, And
we're going to be getting single-player content back, which has always been wild. I wouldn't assume that they would make it standard now. So
yeah, no, that would be silly.
It's always really fun, and sometimes, man, if it's going to be harder than heroic solo adventures used to be before they took adventures out of the game, you're going to need some wild cards to beat these guys, like I feel.
I don't see how it could be harder. I mean, Chromagus was like Like, forget Hearthstone. Chromagus was one of the hardest bosses I've ever fought in a video game.
That's
Heroic
true.
Chromagus in Hearthstone is insane.
I'm
still have the deck in my deck list. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I still have this mage deck sitting there. Where is it? Where is it? Oh my god, where is it?
Oh no, did you delete it?
What happened?
Uh-oh.
Well, I used to, for the longest time, I used to have this mage deck sitting in my deck list, and it was just called haha fuck you Chromagus.
I remember that.
And
I remember
I
you
kept
sent me.
it.
But we used to update each other every time we took down another raid boss because they got so hard. And I remember when you sent that to me, you were like, I finally fucking did it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do 90% of them with Buff Priest, which is hilarious. But, yeah, they're still fun. I'm looking forward to it, and using my wild collection to take down the Lich King and his hordes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, building those decks, just, like, facing the raid boss and being like, okay, what's the thing here?
Yeah,
what do I need to make a deck that can do?
So my sleeper agent, going back to the Tavern Brawl, before
Yeah.
I forget to say this, I had a sleeper agent too that I took people out with hardcore, and I never saw anybody else playing it because nobody seemed to really be trying Warlock. It's Void Terror.
Oh.
It comes down and eats 2 things.
Yeah.
That with Power Overwhelming. What you can do is you can throw down a minion, Power Overwhelming the minion, hit him in the face, then throw down Void Terror and eat it with the Power Overwhelming and hit him again. It was incredible. I killed people in like 1 turn. It was
that's disgusting.
OTK, and as they like to say,
as they want to call it. Yeah, and like this Tavern Brawl made things like Magma Rager actually decent.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw Dusk Boar going around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that high attack shit. I thought about using a lot of those. My main deck ended up just being like this weird like hodgepodge of like stuff that was good.
Yeah.
But didn't have like a consistent theme. The theme was get out Vicious Fledgling and hope it lives.
Yeah, that's basically like the patches of this Tavern Brawl. To patches from the last
Although not
Tavern
quite as cancerous.
No, not quite.
Because that was like the only deck.
Yeah, and it's been perfect having a fun Tavern Brawl around because I keep getting quests for classes that I don't want to play, like Warlock. That's how I actually ended up finding out Warlock's pretty decent. It's because I had to play 50 Warlock cards. I'm like, I don't want to play Warlock on the ladder. So rather than just like mess around in casual or whatever, I just play Tavern Brawls, and it's a lot of fun. You actually can, like, in a Tavern Brawl like this, where the games are really fast, and if you get like a consistently winning deck, it's a great way to farm just the daily 3 wins gold.
Yeah.
That you can get, because you can get up to, I think you can do 30 wins a day.
You can get 100.
Yeah, 100 gold.
I want to say it's 100 gold.
Yeah, I think it's 100 gold. Yeah.
Which is substantial.
Right, but I mean, imagine how long it takes. Yeah.
You can get a pack a day if you have no life. So.
Yeah, but in Tavern Brawls, that's when I've grinded the quest up to 100 gold a day. I've done it in Tavern Brawls because they're always faster.
Yeah, because they're so fast.
Yeah. You
just play the patches deck in the last Tavern Brawl, and everyone just concedes immediately, and it's like another win.
Yeah,
cool.
More gold. If you want to be that guy, you can. But anyway, we have a lot to do or talk about on the show today as far as news. We're kind of in this point in time. I feel we're just waiting for the next expansion now. We've kind of gone through all the homebrew decks we've wanted to do with Ungoro. We've kind of beat the salty cards segment to death for what's available now. So this is kind of going to be just the Knights of the Frozen Throne waiting room here.
Yep.
Salty Dog waiting room. So let's go check out what new things they've actually revealed about the new expansion in the news segment.
What's happening?
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
Time is money, friend. Keep it quick, kid. I ain't got all day.
All right, so actually before we get into what's going on with Knights of the Frozen Throne, there were actually some goodies rolled into the latest patch that we got on the 10th. Hearthstone patch 8.4 that I didn't really see coming. Well, of course, we all knew that the Caverns Below nerf was coming, and that is now live. and you get a full dust refund on Caverns Below until the 24th. So if you never liked Quest Rogue or like me, now that it's been upped to 5 minions of the same name, you think it's unplayable, go ahead and hit that disenchant button before you lose your chance at a full refund.
Yep, they got to do that I mean, honestly, it's only fair that they do that, because if you've got people crafting the card because of how power, and then they're like, yeah, that thing you bought, well, it sucks now.
Exactly, yeah, and I mean, I just think about, they always like to, there's like kind of 3 different players of Hearthstone, right? There's like the really intense, like everyday players, like I sometimes am. There's your casual player who just logs in occasionally and really just uses it as a mobile game. And then there's like this third category that they're always worried about making sure is happy with the game, and that's returning players. Players that have left the game for a month or 2 and want to come back, and they want those players to come back to the same expectations that they had when they left the game. Yeah. And this actually doesn't even really cover them. Like, if they're not staying up on the news of what's getting nerfed and how long they have to disenchant a card, like, there could be somebody who is like an avid Quest Rogue player, takes a break and comes back and has missed the window of disenchanting Caverns Below.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
but that's a small break, I feel like returning player is like someone that played like when it first came out, and they're like, maybe I'll get back into that, and it's like 3 years later.
True, yeah, that's probably more what they mean. It's just something that I think about. It's like, what if I missed that cutoff? Like, I almost missed the Yogg Saron cutoff because I just didn't even, like, I wasn't even thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
And I think I disenchanted on like the second to last day. Yeah. Or I would have been stuck with that horrendous card.
You had a... Did you have a golden Yogg?
I opened a golden Yogg, actually, so I can't complain, because I got 2 legendaries out of that thing.
Mm.
But I never would have crafted him. I hate that card. But
poor Yogg.
No, not poor Yogg.
Rip Yogg.
He can stay in his little hole where he belongs. Also with 8.4, you can... The pre-purchasing of Knights of the Frozen Throne has been implemented in, so you can go ahead. It's, standard $50 for 50 packs deal.
As usual.
Yep, and you also get the Frostmourne card back if you do it, and you can start using that right away.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, that's how they get. Well, I mean, I'm gonna do it regardless. I pre-ordered the one expansion where they didn't have a card back still, but Frostmourne card back is really cool though. Have you seen it?
No, I don't see it on the launcher. Oh, well, there it is.
Yep.
Oh wait, no, that's what the booster pack looks like.
Oh, yeah, no, it's, I don't know where you would look inside the launcher to see it, but it's on the website and all that.
Yeah.
It's really cool looking. I'm gonna...
Yeah, it probably looks just like the booster pack.
I'm probably going to pre-order it, like, after the show.
True.
So that's available. Next with 8.4, this was the part that I didn't see coming, I don't know who really did see coming, was Elemental... Synergy, or the tribe elemental, was added to a few new cards that didn't have it previously. That's Jade Spirit, which is probably the most impactful one.
Definitely, I would say.
Djinn of Zephyrs, which, I mean, that's never really seen play, but, I mean, I guess you kind of saw some limited play in Priest, which ties into Mana Geode, has also gotten the elemental moniker. And that's interesting because... Also a Priest card, and Priest has messed with Elemental a little bit in the past. I mean, kind of right when it first came out, it was messing with it, and I think there's definitely something there, because there's some things that Priest doesn't do very well, like deal direct damage. And, you've got, like, Blaze Collar and these Elemental neutral synergies that can come in and, like, fill in some holes that Priest has.
Yeah. Genie of Zephyrs is League of Explorers.
Oh, well, they still added it. They still added it.
Yeah. I don't know that I agree with it. Well, he is of Zephyrs, though, which is like wind. I was going to say, I don't know if I agree with him becoming an elemental.
Right.
But no, that actually kind of makes sense. I don't care if it's balance related or not.
Mm-hmm.
I like when they add tribes to things just for consistency.
Right.
Like the fact that the Flame of Azzinoth that Illidan summons is now going to be an elemental.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it should be.
And that is purely a lore standpoint change.
Yeah,
like you can say there are maybe other reasons for some of these other ones, but that, I mean, tokens don't do anything with elementals.
Right.
Because they're all battle cry based.
Yeah. But that is literally, you know, in WoW, a Fellfire elemental. So yeah, and I like the consistency of it, you know.
Me too. Yeah.
Which ties into a prediction that I have when we get to our Frozen Throne talks.
Yes, I believe I know what you're talking about. But there is one more card other than, so we had the Jade Spirit, the Djinn of Zephyrs, the Mana Geode, and Halaziel the Ascended, which of course is a Shaman card, and Shaman already has the most and best elemental synergy with Kalamos and Fire Elemental and all of the Shaman only elementals that are so strong. So I really feel like Elemental Shaman is going places, especially with Jade Spirit getting the Elemental tracker. Yeah.
Right. Now that the Jade package has elemental synergy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I always remember way back in the beginning, I was always like, I think Jades and Elementals are going to go together. Now, I wasn't necessarily right back then, but I'm starting to come around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that seems viable. Like, anything you can do to make Jades work, anything you can do to allow the Jade package to fit in your deck is like, it's like, do it.
Right, because you're not sacrificing anything with Jade cards because they're good.
Right.
Technically, kind of the worst Jade card is Jade Spirit, right? Because, I mean, it's just not that good. It's a 2/3, and it doesn't do it. You know, it's no Jade Lightning. You can't remove something with it. It's no Jade Claws or anything. But now that it actually triggers your, you know, Servant of Kalamos on 5 and just lets you curve into all those late game elementals without losing. This
made the worst Jade card for Shamans actually better. So
right, and of course, I mean, you know, maybe Rogue, a Druid could do something with it, but I think it definitely means the most for Shaman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mana Geode's very interesting to me, and it probably won't end up making a difference as far as like an Elemental Priest deck is concerned, because the card's, you know, really not that good because it's forcing you to try to hero power every turn, which is horrendously throwing you off curve. But it makes me want to try it, you know, because I feel like Mana Geode's pretty good. It's really just, you know, then my mind starts going crazy. It's like, what if your hero power was free? And now I'm trying to put Raza in the, you know, make it a Highlander deck. But
then there's no guarantee you'll get your Mana Geode when there's only one copy in your deck.
There's no guarantee I'll get Raza. So
there's no guarantee. I don't know. It seemed pretty guaranteed that those Reno decks got Reno.
Yeah.
I'm still mad.
I know you're never gonna not.
I'll always be mad at that at everyone involved with the development of Reno Jackson. I just want to punch.
It's always gonna be too soon for you for Reno.
Yeah, like, don't talk. Reno's my trigger word.
So other changes that came in with 8.4, moving past the elemental thing, is they released some notes that these aren't all necessarily new, but it's kind of the first time we're hearing about it, like especially officially from Blizzard, that they've been silently changing things over time behind the scenes with Arena. One of the biggest changes is that weapons have received the same treatment as spells did in getting an additional increase on top of being class cards. Now they're offered at an equal rate to spells, which were boosted beyond class cards.
I think that makes sense.
Equal. Yeah.
Because that is the spell. You know, that is the removal spell for the paladin or for the warrior.
Right, yeah, they were probably at a disadvantage because their spells are generally less impactful. So that probably makes sense. Yeah, I would say that makes sense. But there are some other things that I don't think make sense. Like this next part, Vicious Fledgling is joining Flamestrike and Abyssal Enforcer on the Island of Misfit cards, where it's gonna get a 50% reduced offering rate, just like those other cards.
Yeah.
Which I don't see how that's fixing anything.
Yeah, that I think either decide if it's unfair. Like the only reason they would do that is because they think it's unfair in some way in Arena, and if it's unfair, then just take it out. Like either leave it in and make it an equal chance to get it as every other card, or take it out. Because now it's just going to be like nobody has it except the one asshole that does have it, and then you fight them and they kill you with it, and you're like, well, you just got lucky and you got a Vicious Fledgling. So that's really just going to make people mad.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, this makes a little bit less sense to me even than Flamestrike and Abyssal Enforcer, because Flamestrike and Abyssal Enforcer, they're huge. They're board wipes. They do a lot. They're very impactful. So even just like reducing the amount you can look at getting in one deck, like 2 Flamestrike decks were horrible in Arena, because you're like, I survived the first Flamestrike and then came the second one.
And there's probably not another one, yeah.
Having more than one Vicious Fledgling in your deck doesn't have the same effect, right? It's kind of just like, you just need the one, and if you can connect to face with it, then you're already basically winning the game.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's really weird. That's not the only thing. Like, they're starting to do more of this, going through and tweaking individual cards. And we can see that with the next change that they told us they've been making. And what they said is popular cards had small drop rate changes to address class balance concerns. And they say that the changes only range from like 1 to 5%. They don't give a list of these cards. I'm assuming there's probably a lot of them. It says they're small enough that you're unlikely to notice a difference, like, from your, arena run to arena run. You're not going to be like, I see a lot less, Draconid operatives or whatever it is. But it should have a cumulative effect to help improve class balance. So I guess, clearly there are certain classes that are better than others in Arena. Mage, Rogue, and there are some worse ones like Warlock, Warrior. So I guess what they're trying to do is kind of push those together a little bit.
Right. It's I don't know. It's almost like they have more control over this than they do of something like Standard, where you can know as many people as want to can run the most powerful deck there is, and it totally throws off the the class win rate.
Mm-hmm.
So with Arena, since they have the power to be like, there's only going to be this % of decks that have this card,
right?
And that's gonna it's really weird, and I don't know, it's weird that they're manipulating it like they are, and it seems sketchy.
Well, I like the way that you worded it, where you're like, kind of their statistics are going to reflect better to them. Yeah. Like, these changes, like all these micro changes that we're not even necessarily going to be privy to, like as they just kind of change cards on and off on the fly. What it's doing is it's like making it look better on a spreadsheet, right?
Right.
They're like, yes, we moved this 2 points up and this came 2 points down. That's what we wanted.
And now it looks pretty.
Yeah, now it looks better on paper. But like, how does that actually affect Arena as like for the players and like the experience?
I guess what they're saying is it's basically not,
Yeah, I guess.
Except for the rare situation where it does.
Right.
But overall, it makes things better. But I don't know. If it's not, sure, it makes things prettier. But if it's not actually affecting, if you're not going to feel it on a game-to-game basis, then why even do it?
I guess, yeah, really, it just comes back to, like, their data looks nicer.
Right, exactly. It just looks prettier, yeah.
But to me, like, I don't know, maybe I'm making too big of a deal about it. I mean, I'm not somebody who gets in there and really crunches the numbers on Arena and knows if this is going to have more of a drastic effect than they're letting on. Right. But, just imagine now, if we actually did get, like, full Arena change patch notes, and they just, like, wrote out, like, here are the current standard Arena rules on a piece of paper. Like, it's gonna look like madness.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, Flamestrike is offered at 50% less than the spell increased class card rate of mage cards, which somehow translates out to this percentage, and then...
Yeah.
But they also individually tweaked down, Firelands portal by 4%, and like you're just going down and you're just like, what is this? It takes away the simplicity of just, you get cards and you pick them,
right? I agree. Like, it's a little weird, like, if you're doing like a Magic draft or any physical card game draft, they can't go in and be like, all right, but if you have this card in your pack, you gotta rip it up,
Right. I mean, I think they already intervene enough in making cards not available in Arena. I think it should be an all or nothing thing. It's in it or it's not.
Right. I mean, that's kind of the whole fun of Arena is you just pulling these cards out of, it's just they're random and.
I don't mind bigger changes like class card increases, like a blanket change like that, but I'm talking about changing individual cards' drop rates.
Yeah,
that's just weird to me.
It's weird. Yeah. It is weird. It's very weird.
I mean, who knows? Maybe it is better for the long term.
Yeah, I mean, it might be. They might just want their spreadsheet to look nice. So I don't know.
I don't know either, but that is all. I mean, that's not even all just live as of this patch. This is just them kind of coming clean to, like, showing us what they've been kind of doing behind the scenes with Arena. Which, I mean, it's interesting. At least we're getting a look at it, So if you feel like you've been seeing less Firelands portals, you probably have.
Yeah.
But I think that pretty much does it for patch 8.4 stuff. Overall, it was a pretty small patch, but I think it could definitely shake up the meta a good bit. I mean, I know it's going to, because now Caverns Rogue is done. I mean, that's just gone. I mean, whether or not Jade Spirit's change, brings about a new Jade Elemental meta or whatever, that remains to be seen, but we know Caverns is done.
It's crazy to me that they have to know that nerfing Caverns is gonna kill that deck, and
I think they want it dead.
They're like, we're fine with that.
Yeah, basically.
Like, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I think they finally admitted that even though its win rates weren't insane, it's just like a bad card for the game, right? It's just It was holding back anybody who wanted to play Control, because even if you could queue up 4 games and not see it, there's going to be a game, and it's going to end your streak, and it's going to push you back, and it just stops an entire archetype from ever being able to just have a positive ladder experience.
Right. For sure.
Right. But let's move on to some Frozen Throne talk. I think that's what is the most exciting part anyway. We have had some new news about this. So they've kind of, they're starting their whole Hearthstone brand kind of silly viral marketing thing is kind of kicking into gear here. And I love what they're doing with it, because they're using Arthas, of course. And he's like really becoming a character in the world, right? Because he's starting to take on Hearthstone and like change things. Like he's a conqueror. He's going to take over this game.
Yeah.
And why? Well, because he didn't get a job at Team 5. That's why.
And he's still mad. He's still mad about it.
For anybody who didn't have a chance to watch the video, they released this really short video with Ben Brode interviewing Arthas for a job on Team 5 to be a Hearthstone dev. And even though he has been the wielder of Frostmourne and the ruler of the Frozen Throne, he just doesn't have enough job experience as a game developer, right?
Yeah, I mean, he knows the lore really well, probably better than anyone.
Especially in Northrend.
Especially Northrend. So, I mean, he's got that going for him.
But Arthas doesn't take no for an answer. So he doesn't get the job, but he swears revenge against Brode and all of Hearthstone.
So I guess that's why we're getting Knights of the Frozen Throne.
Exactly, right? Yeah, he's going to kill all of our heroes and resurrect them back as Death Knights. I love it. I love what they're doing with it.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, because I am the resident lore nerd, there's the little caption beneath the video on the official Hearthstone site says, "The accursed Brode speaks of qualifications, of experience. I will show him a resume from the grave and the true meaning of entrepreneurial." So what that is a quote from Arthas from the game. Obviously, it's been modified, but it's from the Wrathgate cinematic in Wrath of the Lich King, and which was one of the most insanely epic moments in World of Warcraft.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Everyone, just go on and watch it on YouTube if you've never played WoW. Just watch this cinematic. It's fantastic.
But the original quote was, "You speak of justice, of cowardice. I will show you the justice of the grave and the true meaning of fear." So I thought it was cool that they took a little quote from the lore and then switched it up just for the big dorks like me to notice.
Yeah. So. This gets me so giddy because I mean, Hearthstone for a while now has been pretty separate from WoW, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, the references are kind of, I guess, put into the flavor text and just kind of sprinkled here and there. But overall, the game has felt very its own thing. And I like that. I mean, it's fine. But this gets me so much more giddy when I'm seeing the references to WoW just, like, pouring through this game. Like,
oh, yeah.
I love to see it.
For sure. And, you know, it may have something to do with the fact that Wrath of the Lich King was when World of Warcraft's player base peaked.
Right.
So they're like, you know, if we're going to do something very lore heavy here and maybe not put our, you know, super silly Hearthstone twist on this expansion, maybe it should be with the most popular WoW expansion of all time.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Everyone knows Wrath of the Lich King, you know?
Right. Well, they had to do this carefully, right? Because everybody's been pretty much asking for a Death Knight class to be added to this game since Death Knights became a thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that they've done it in a pretty brilliant way, because they can kind of be like, Death Knights are a class now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense with the way Death Knights worked in World of Warcraft, because you had to get your character to level 55 before you could make a Death Knight, and then your Death Knight started at level 55, so it was almost like your main character became a Death Knight.
Right.
Even though that's not what exactly happened. But it's like, you know, you in Hearthstone, in this expansion, you're going to have to start out as just your hero, and then you will later, when you have more power, unlock Death Knight.
Yeah.
So it kind of works the same way. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that about it. And I actually did. I am pretty much a lore nerd too. I don't know as much of the WoW lore as Dookie does, but I like to feel like I'm role playing and immersed in a game, like in an MMORPG when I'm playing it. So I actually made my first Death Knight the same race as my main to feel more like it was the same guy.
Yeah.
It's like I had a Blood Elf priest, and I made a Blood Elf DK.
Made a Blood Elf priest Death Knight.
Yeah, Blood Elf priest Death Knight for the win. No, we were Frost back when everybody tried to shit on Frost and say it wasn't good.
Everybody thought Frost DKs weren't the shit.
And then they were like, whoa, where's this DPS coming from?
Yeah, they're like, so can I look at your spec? And I'm like, sure.
Well, since you mention it, it is pretty good.
But yeah, no, I'm pretty excited about this expansion. Probably more so than any expansion. I was excited about Karazhan, but I also knew that it was not going to be the Karazhan that I know and love. So,
right,
you know,
it was party time.
Party time.
But Arthas has already made his first move on the Broad and Hearthstone team. He has claimed Tempo Storm, the Hearthstone esports team Tempo Storm, as his own team. He has killed the Tempo Storm players and resurrected them as Death Knights and renamed their team the Frozen Pwn.
Awesome.
That cracks me up.
The website's all decked out in like frosty stuff,
actually,
and then the icons of the heroes are all the dead Death Knight versions of them from the art.
Yeah, we have a picture up here for anybody who's watching the VOD or live with us here. The whole website's tricked out. They've got ice all over everything, and like he was saying, all of the heroes' portraits have been replaced with their Death Knight variants. It's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I'm a huge fan of viral advertising. Whenever, when movies do it, like they did with, what's a good example? Cloverfield. That was, I got so into that. I looked like Charlie Day from frickin' It's Always Sunny, like doing the research. Like, if you look here, this is like the Japanese company that woke the beasts. No, I get really into it. It feels very immersive.
Yeah, no, it's awesome that they're doing that.
Yeah. But there's a quote from Arthas. I guess, he's giving interviews. Now, he's a conqueror in a sense still, but not in the leading the scourge to wipe out all living way, but just like to kind of, be an entrepreneur. And his quote in an interview with Arthas says about his new team, "Your typical esports mortal must eat, sleep, and have relationships. My players will no longer be concerned with such petty human foibles as rest, nourishment, or happiness. They will practice through the passing of the sun and moon every day with unstoppable determination. In the future, all live streams will be 24-hour dead streams.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah, look for your favorite players from Hearthstone, like Trump, Frodan, Ratsma. They're all going to be undead now, and they're going to be streaming 24 hours. So,
although I don't know if I agree with the statement that your typical esports mortal must eat, sleep, and have relationships.
No?
I think that may have already been out the window to some extent.
True. You at least have to eat, right? I mean, sleep, relationships. I guess you
have to eat, but you know.
I mean, you're eating right now, so.
That's true. Yeah. It's a busy day.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's pretty much all they have for Arthas' antics up to this moment. But I'm sure that he's going to make some big power plays soon here in the future.
Yeah, this is an exciting time.
It is. I hope they do more with the whole making random, like, Hearthstone devs turn into DKs like they did during the initial, like, Frozen Throne reveal.
Oh, yeah, what's his name? Slowly died.
Yeah, that was great. I want to see more of that. All right. Looks like it's probably about time to move on to our card challenge segment, which for anybody who is joining us for the first time, for the last segment of our show, we always do a card challenge, which is where the previous week we give you a prompt to make cards, which you can do wherever that, is possible, but we always recommend hearthcards.net. It's a great place to go if you're interested in giving us a submission for our next week, which we'll give you the prompt right after we do this card challenge. And I believe that I gave the last one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my challenge in honor of the Frozen Throne reveal was for everybody to create a new hero card, a Death Knight hero card for their favorite class.
Yep.
We got a lot of great submissions this week. Everybody.
Yeah, there were a lot of good ones.
I can tell everybody's really excited.
Yeah, no, they were super cool and creative. We had a lot of trouble narrowing it down. Excuse me, to just 6.
Yeah, so we choose our favorite of 6 submissions that we get. And if you're hanging out with us during the live stream, we will play some games after with anybody who was on our list. So stick around if you hear your name. All right, let's move on to the card challenge.
Prepare yourself for the ultimate test.
All right, up first with a Warrior Death Knight, we have TJ. He gives us Garrosh, Undead Horde Leader. Garrosh, Undead Horde Leader is a 6 mana hero. He gives you 10 armor when he's played. And he has a static effect that changes all of your minions in your deck to be undead, which I guess is a new tribe. Tribe is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
He's kind of predicting. I don't necessarily know what that would do at this point, since we don't have any undead synergies, and there isn't any undead synergy here on the card. But it's still cool, though, because I feel like undead might be a thing. And I think that's what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, no, I want to say that my official stance is I'm predicting that undead is going to be a new tribe in this expansion, because for one thing, I really like tribes, because I guess it comes from my Magic background, and every single creature has a type, whether it's just a warrior or a human or whatever.
Right.
But every creature has a creature type or a tribe. So I really like things to be like organized like that. Why do some minions have tribes and some don't? Isn't every minion some kind of creature?
Right. Yeah, like you were saying, an elf or human or whatever.
An elf, human, whatever. Yeah. So I think if they're gonna make undead a tribe in Hearthstone, this would be the time to do it, because this expansion is gonna be obviously very undead heavy.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen them starting to add more tribes, right?
Yeah.
They added elementals with Ungoro. And I would not be upset at all if it was kind of their new trend to just add a new tribe with every expansion.
Yeah, eventually to the point where they've come out with so many that they're updating the whole past catalog of cards too, because if Undead actually does become a thing, they're gonna have to update all of like Naxxramas.
Oh yeah,
is gonna become Undead. Some stuff in Karazhan is gonna become Undead. There's gonna be so much Undead, right. which is fine. They'll just have to be careful with how they synergize, as to not make things too OP.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the main problem they're probably facing now, is the fact that they haven't been making all minions have a tribe up to this point, and all of everything they've made is balanced around that fact that only certain cards have tribes. Now, if they're going to start implementing elementals and undead and whatever else, it's going to change a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's really only going to affect it's going to affect Wild a lot more, probably, right? Because a lot of the undead cards would be in Wild. Yeah,
Wild's going to be... Wild's just always just crazy. I guess it's Wild. But anyway, I didn't even think we talked about this. This new hero gives you the hero power, Blade Thirst, which is 2 mana to give your hero lifesteal, I guess just for the turn. So that's interesting. Like, it's definitely like a control warrior thing, because that way when you swing with a weapon, you're gonna get life back equal to the damage you dealt, which is cool. But like you were saying before when we were talking about this, there's a limited number of times that's gonna work.
Right, because your hero doesn't gain permanent attack from this or anything.
You've only got so many weapons, you've only got so many heroic strikes, etc. So
right, so that kind of balances it, right? Because it's incredibly powerful. I mean, if you've got an Arcanite Reaper on and you can just gain 5 health for 2 mana, I mean, that's pretty damn good.
Pretty good.
I mean, it's better than gaining 2, which was your hero power before.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that balances it out, because it's not something that's going to be around forever. I mean, unless you're running tentacles for arms or something, but then your deck's terrible. So.
Yeah, true that.
But no, I definitely like the idea behind this, and the Undead tribe is a good call, I think. I think that's something that we can at least reasonably hope for from this expansion. I could see it happening, for sure. So, thanks, TJ. Up next, we have, from Renee and Feldan Shadow Lord, which this one is one of my personal favorites from our submissions this week.
Really cool.
Yeah, so Feldan, obviously, is the upgrade, the Death Knight version of Gul'dan. 6 mana, 5 armor, with Battle Cry, cast Corruption on all enemy minions, which is better than the mass corruption that we have currently, which is going to get yours too. So that's pretty cool. But my favorite part about this, hands down, is the hero power, which is Sleight of Hand. 2 mana, add a discarded card to your hand.
So you're not taking the damage from the Warlock hero power anymore, and you're still getting a card from your deck. So,
right, and it's something that you discarded. This is the kind of stuff that discard Warlock needs if it's ever going to be a thing. You kind of need to be able to get those cards back, right? They've started to realize that. Clutch Mother Zavis and the Cruel Dinomancer, I think, is that what it's called, right?
Cruel Dinomancer.
Right.
Yeah.
They're starting to figure out that losing those cards is too steep of a penalty, right? And they're giving you ways to get them back. But I think this is one of the most clever ways. I mean, you're paying 2 extra to play whatever card you got back, so it's not too insanely powerful or anything. I think this is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's still draw a card. It's still 2 mana draw a card, and you're not taking damage anymore. So it is pretty cool. I would wonder if it would be limited to the pool of cards you've discarded, and then once you've drawn all the copies out of that pool, you have nothing else. Or if it would give you duplicates of things.
Well, based on how other mechanics work, like Resurrect, for example, well, maybe Resurrect is a bad example, because when something you've resurrected dies, then it kind of shuffles itself back in. But I'm pretty sure that, like, if you only had 1 minion that was dead and you had 4 mana and you resurrected twice, you'd get 2 of that minion instead of...
Yeah, you would.
Right. So I kind of feel like that's the underlying rule, kind of.
Yeah.
Is that pools are not like physical card games where if you resurrect something in playing Magic, you literally take the card out of your graveyard and put it on the field and it's not in there anymore.
Right.
I think that the pool is like permanent in this game.
Yeah,
That's what it feels
that makes
like
sense.
To me. Yeah. But really cool idea.
Yeah, that's a super cool idea. Very clever.
Thanks for that, Renand. Up next, we have Parker Randall with Death Knight Rogue. This is a 6 mana, 5 armor battle cry. For the rest of the game, your non-rogue class cards cost 1 less. So it has this like ethereal peddler feel to it.
Only with that theme.
Yeah, only it's ethereal peddler does it by 2, but this is kind of a better card because it also gives you your hero power Burgle 2.0, which is 3 mana to add 3 random class cards to your hand from your opponent's class.
Crazy powerful.
Yeah, so right off the bat, I think that the hero power is tuned up a little too high. Getting 3 cards from 1 hero power is pretty much unbeatable value. Nothing in the game can really stand up to that.
And you're not even drawing out your own deck. You're just copying cards from your opponent.
And pretty technically, your hero power is free, right? Because you're getting 3 cards that are all reduced by 1.
Right.
Unless you're playing a mirror match, in which case this is kind of a bad matchup.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, it's aside from the hero power being super broken, I think thematically this one's like right on the money. It's very very rogue. They take a rogue theme and they ran with it, which is cool.
Right, and I kind of think that's what we're going to see from a lot of the hero cards from Blizzard, because if you look at Deathstalker Rexar, what does he do? He comes down and he does a flame trap, or I think that's what it's called, flame trap? Explosive trap, that's right. I always say flame trap, I don't know why. And his ability is kind of like Dinomancy in a way. So it's taking things that classes have already kind of been able to do. And this whole Burgle Rogue thing has never really caught on other than just like a splash, like have some swashbucklers in there.
Yeah.
But having it as like a dominant theme, this is a great step in that direction. Probably some numbers need to be tweaked or whatever, but it's the theme that I really like here.
Yeah, no, this is a cool card. I like it.
All right, up next from, excuse me, I'm probably going to butcher this, Arokos with Void Lord Anduin, who is obviously my bae. So 7 mana for 4 armor. Destroy all enemies with 5 or more attacks. So Anduin comes down, you don't get a great return on health for the amount of mana you paid for him, but you get to Shadow Word Death everything.
Yeah.
Which, I like that.
Pretty strong.
Yeah, it is really strong, but it's also situational, right? Like, you use this against, like a Flood Shaman deck or an Aggro Druid deck, and they're just gonna
Nothing's dying.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's very situational, which I think kind of dials it back in power. But I really like it thematically, right? Like, he comes out and he's just like, deaths everything. It's like the most Death Lord thing you can do, Death Knight thing you can do. And then your hero power becomes Void Consume. 4 mana, destroy a random enemy minion.
So you can't play that in the same turn that you play him.
Right, because it adds up to more than 10.
Yeah.
So at first glance, it seems overpowered, and in some matchups, it definitely would be. Like, imagine some kind of ramp druid, for contrast. You'd come down, kill everything they have. They probably don't have enough mana to play more than one big fatty a turn, and you're just going to kill it every turn.
Yeah, that's how priest cards go. They're either useless or broken, depending on the situation.
True. So I guess it fits the class pretty well.
Yeah, fits the class.
Yeah. But, it's basically good in big, fatty, greedy control decks. It just destroys them. But then if you're playing against anything with any sort of speed or minion flood, it does nothing, basically. Yep. But I really like the theme to it, and something like this would be awesome for Priest, something that gives it a little bit of a better matchup in control, because it does have a pretty bad matchup there.
Very cool.
Usually. So thanks for that one, Ericos. Up next, we have I'm a Dragon with Malfurion Death Druid, and he had a message attached with his who said he really wants to have Mill Druid come back. I don't know if I agree with him, but let's take a look at his card. 5 mana for 5 armor. Battle Cry. Each hero draws until their hand is full. So that is crazy. If you play this on curve, you're absolutely forcing yourself to burn a card. But you're also always forcing your opponent to burn a card.
Yep.
Because they are, no matter what, drawing with a full hand after you play this.
Yep.
Which is crazy. I mean, if you're playing a Mill Druid with Naturalizes and, Grove Tenders, Grove Tender's not standard anymore, is it?
No.
I don't think so. No, with whatever they have available to them to force you to draw.
Cold Light Oracle.
Yeah. It's gonna be bad time for you. And the hero power doesn't make it any better. It's Power Salvage, 2 mana. Put a card that your opponent burned into your hand and decrease its cost by 3. I'm with this card and where its power levels are at, right up until the point where we get decrease its cost by 3. That's where I think it goes too far.
Because it's basically the equivalent of like the Warlock hero power, because you pay 2 mana and you get a card, but you don't lose any life, so it's even better.
Mm-hmm.
And then reducing cost by 3 seems super broken. Could reduce it by like 1 or 2.
Yeah, I would think 1 is a good place to be at, because I don't think that the hero power should be fully canceled out, because then you're looking at something like, Primordial Glyph, where it's paying for itself by decreasing the cost of what it gets you. So I think you should have to put something into it, right? And maybe not even decrease it at all. I mean, it might be just fine.
Yeah, you're still just 2 mana draw a card.
Yeah. And it's even better in this matchup, in a matchup where you are also inevitably going to be forcing yourself to draw more cards, to not be drawing from your deck, but drawing from this ethereal pool, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, you're still going to draw once every turn, but this isn't damaging your deck. It's probably just giving you just tools, just random tools. So
this might mean you wouldn't have to run cards like Nourish, for example, to try to keep your value in your hand. You can just generate value from your hero power.
Yeah,
and you're getting your value from your opponent, which is really cool, and it's random, which is really cool, and it's better the more that you burn. You can even control this. Like, maybe you burn a really awesome card, and then you just stop making them burn cards, right?
Yeah,
and
you just keep drawing that one.
Yeah. Because that is if, the pool works how we think it would work, which is that it's eternal. You don't just draw it and then it's gone.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
really cool.
I think it's a super cool concept.
Yeah, this is
even if Mill Druid is a bit of a bitch.
It just feels bad not to be able to play any of your cards, right?
It does. It's frustrating. It's maddening.
Yeah, it's like playing against blue in Magic, where everything you try to play just gets countered.
Oh, and guess what? Most Mill decks are blue, so
True.
How about
this
that?
Is definitely a blue card. Yeah. No, as far as Magic goes.
Yeah.
But I really like where it's at. Like we said, everybody just had these really creative ideas.
They were all just really cool. It was the first time where I'm like, damn, we only get to pick 6.
All right, and moving on to our 6th and last from submissions, we have Dougie Fresh's Deathstalker Valera, which might possibly be the most overpowered one we got.
This one is so broken. This almost I actually see him in the chat here. He thought he didn't make it, but
he always thinks he didn't make it.
But we almost didn't pick it because of how broken it was. But conceptually, it is so on theme, so on brand for Rogue.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a 6/10. It's 6 mana and it gives you 10 armor. It has Battle Cry that says enemy cards cost 5 more next turn. So your enemy's not playing anything next turn. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Your hero power becomes Flying Daggers. 2 mana, add 2 Severing Slashes to your hand. And a Severing Slash is a 0 mana spell that deals 2 damage.
What?
So, this is fucking busted. But, I like that it Loathebs your opponent. I loved Loatheb. That was one of my favorite cards. So I like that effect is built in there. Maybe this card should be just their spells cost 5 more, or their minions cost 5 more, something.
Right.
And then adding 4 damage that you can put wherever you want in the form of 2 spells to your opponent, to your hand, for 2 mana is nuts.
Yeah, that's the part where, I mean, okay, first of all, for 6 mana and such an insane effect, the armor's way too high, the effect's probably too high, the damage is too high on the spells, but it's the theme that we really liked.
Yeah.
Which, it's very rogue. Like, rogue usually kind of gets an advantage on the opponent by returning things to their hand, right? I mean, in lieu of assassinate, rogues just run sap. Because it basically, when you're playing a rogue deck, it's the same thing. You get it off the field once, and that's all you really needed.
Yeah, you've thrown off their whole tempo.
So to build in then additional punish to returning things to your opponent's hand, that was the part that I really liked. That's like an uber sap, right? You sap it, and then you play this, and they can't play it again. And I think that it should just be minions. Because it would be cool to have it be like the flippity-flop of Lotheb, and it goes better with the rogue theme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's actually a really good insight on it. I didn't even think about the fact that rogue bounces things. And the fact that it's 6 mana, like you could sap 2 things and then play this.
Right.
And then just be like, all right, you lose, I guess.
It's very good that it can't be played alongside Vanish, because that would be insane.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous.
But you could set up a good Vanish, right? You could Vanish and then play this on the next turn, and hopefully, like, they haven't been able to reload yet.
Still most of their hands in it. Yeah, no, conceptually this is awesome. The numbers are a little wacky. But, adding 0 mana spells to your hands, obviously awesome, because rogues, benefit so much from that. Right. Honestly, it could probably be 2 mana for a 0 mana spell that does 1 damage.
I'm with you on that, because then it's similar to the razor petal thing that they gave them.
And
set, right?
With that, actually, from that, it's the same as the mage hero power, but you get the benefit of it being in spell form.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
So you can still target it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can draw a card off of Gadgetzan Auctioneer. You can combo into fucking Van Cleef, You
can do all those broken rogue things that we all know and hate.
But conceptually, this card's dope.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks for that, Dougie. All right, so up next we have yours then, Dookie.
Oh snap! All right, let me pull it up here. Okay, so Dread Knight Liadrin. So
shoot. Hold up, I have the wrong thing up.
Oh no!
I didn't put it in right. Shoot, you're just gonna have to read it.
That's what she said. Okay. Oh, there's no image. That makes me so sad.
Let me see if I can add it in there.
Yeah, just throw it in there.
Let me see if I can.
Please hold. Technical difficulties. Need some waiting music.
I know, right? Thanks. I like where you went with that.
The Doug theme?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's that?
You got this. I believe in you.
I can do it. It's going to take a second. Just think of a conversation topic.
just delete the image out of that one and throw it in there. And
no, I didn't get it off of the drive.
That's download it.
Shh.
Oh my goodness.
We were rushing.
I can announce the next challenge if
there you go.
It's a good time for that. So with the prediction that Undead is going to be a tribe, the next challenge is design a card with Undead synergy. Doesn't have to be an Undead minion, just as long as it has Undead synergy. It could be a spell. It could be a not Undead minion that affects Undead minions. Whatever you want to do. I don't care. It could be a weapon. It could be a hero power. Just make something that's like, your Undead minions get this, or do this to all Undead minions, etc.
Okay, you're good.
I see it up on the screen there. All right, so this hurts my eyes, but it's fine. Oh, there we go. So Dread Knight Liadrin, I wanted to make an aggro one because I like playing aggro, but also because a lot of these heroes are very big, grand effects, and I wanted one that came out quick and did something like at the top of the aggro curve and just like made a really big splash. So Dread Knight Liadrin is a 5-mana hero that gives you 0 armor. Battlecry, summon 3 1/1 Geists with charge and deal 3 damage to your hero. So you don't get any armor. She actually hurts you.
Yeah.
But you get 3 1/1s with charge, so it's almost like a shitty Unleash the Hounds. But what your hero power becomes is Rage of the Dead, which is 1 mana. Summon a Raging Geist, which is a 1/1 charge, and give a random friendly minion +1 attack. So no matter what your board state is, you can always pay a mana and get a 2/1 charge. If you got buffs in your hand, you can buff it, get some face damage in there. This is basically for the aggro deck that has blown their load, and they need something on board just to get through, just for that last little bit. So that's where I went with this.
I like it a lot,
honestly, I don't know if it's overpowered or underpowered or what.
I think it's pretty spot on, but I was actually going to say, I don't know why the hero power needs to be 1. I think it would be fine still at 2.
Really?
Well, right, because, okay, you're getting your man, but he's got charge, and you're getting an additional attack on it. Mm-hmm. So, I feel like I would keep it at 2.
I just felt like the main hero itself effect was so weak at 5 mana that the power needed to be really good.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I mean, still could be too, because on turn 6, you'd still pay 2 mana and be able to Blessing of Kings your Geist.
Right, or play a 4-drop alongside it.
Right.
And, you could be running charge in the deck, and maybe the charge minion gets the other charge minion gets the attack instead of the Geist, or whatever.
So it's almost like, if you've got the Geist out, he's a 2/1 charge. If you have other things out, well, that's great, because having a board is great. But you don't know what'll get charged. So it actually depowers the +1 attack a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I like it a lot because it's so Paladin. The only thing that's not Paladin about it is the fact that the hero's taking damage, but that's like Death Knight about it. So that's cool. But it's still all about men. Still all about dudes.
Yeah,
and I like
them
that.
Dudes. Yeah, and I remembered those little Geists from when we were raiding Ice Crown, and those things always just, they would run at you like crazy, and they always just seemed like they were nuts. So I went with the little Geists. Yeah,
it's really cool, and it even has an effect to it that's reminiscent of an effect that Paladin gets a lot, which is summoning 3 things. Mm-hmm. They've had it with Nightbane Templar, and most originally they had it with Mustard for battle.
For battle.
Yes, I like it a lot. That's really cool, and they could all make like a similar to battle thing, only all messed up and undead sounding.
Yeah. I was proud of this one.
I like it a lot. All right, so I always save up mine here for last, and I really like mine this week too. So this
still
week,
haven't seen yours.
Yes, well there it is. There it is. Mine is Frost Reaver Medivh. I kind of did the exact opposite of Dookie, and I went for the grand effect to a hero rather than trying to condense it into something a little bit faster. He's 9 mana, so you're not doing anything else on his turn. But you can bring it down on turn 9 at least, which is good. It gives you 8 armor and Death Rattle. And I know you're like, what? Death Rattle, it's your hero. But I thought it would be super cool. I mean, they're Death Knights. They come back to life. It's like what they do. I thought it would be super cool if there was a way to work Death Rattle onto one of these rather than Battlecry. So his Death Rattle is return as Banshee King Medivh. But first, let's take a look at the hero power that you get. And this stays the same regardless of which version of him you are, Frost Reaver or Banshee King. It's Frost Rune, which is 2 mana. Put a copy of Frostbolt into your hand. It costs 0. So that's like Primordial Glyphing into always a Frostbolt.
Yeah.
So obviously you're going to sit there and just fill your hand with these things. Once you are finally killed... which, by the way, I gave him 8 armor because that is a ice barrier. And his Death Rattle, it makes you immune. So it's kind of like Ice Block. So once they get through all that, you become Banshee King Medivh, which is... He has no mana cost or armor because it just flips your portrait over and you just become him. You get spell damage +1. And the text says, at the start of your opponent's next turn, you lose the game. Doesn't matter what you do. You can throw on another Ice Block, Ice Barrier, Alexstrasza yourself. Doesn't matter. You're going to lose.
I guess he should also say on him immune.
He should say immune. Yeah, he should say spell damage +1, immune at the start of your opponent's next turn. You lose the game. So I did omit that. But I wanted something where it felt super epic and you were just going to get to unload after some setup. Like, can you imagine just, like, firing off, like, 5 0-cost frost bolts with spell damage?
Yeah.
It would be so
and
awesome feeling.
Imagine having Antonidas out when you do it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of synergies built in. The main one that I tried to go for, and the wording on Banshee King Medivh is very specific. It doesn't say, you know, at the end of your turn, you lose the game. And that is very purposeful because this would synergize then with the Mage Quest Time Warp. Because not only is the Frost Rune adding in spells to your hand that didn't start in your deck, if you use Time Warp while you're Banshee King Medivh, you get another turn as him because you didn't pass to your opponent. Your opponent's turn hasn't started yet. So that's where I went.
Super
with it.
Clever. I never would have thought of that unless you pointed it out.
So
and the fact that the free frost bolts are contributing to your Time Warp.
Right. Yeah. It has heavy synergy with Time Warp. I didn't even initially set out to do that. It just kind of ended up that way.
Right.
But and by the way, for anybody who plays League, yes, that is a picture of Frost Fury Nocturne or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
It was the best thing I could find for what I wanted to convey.
It totally works.
He's just like a Frost power ghost.
Yeah, power ghost. Medivh would become a power ghost for sure.
He totally is. He's a power ghost. Yeah. All right. So that.
Yeah, no, that one's super clever. I feel like you've out clevered me.
I don't know, man. Everybody was really clever this week.
They were all good.
All the cards.
I think because I feel bad when we have to omit so many that are good. Maybe we should retweet all of them. You know, just so they're out there and people can see, you know, everything that's been submitted. If you're following us on Twitter, you know, and if we don't talk about it on the show, at least you'll see them, you know.
Yeah, I like that idea. We'll definitely do that. But that does it for the show today. Thanks for everybody who hung out with us and submitted cards. We loved reading all of them. We always do. Keep them coming. It's so much fun to get all these cards. And yeah, it does suck when we don't go through them all, but I think that's a really good plan to start tweeting them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody who got on the top 6 today, if you're hanging out with us in the chat, hang out after the show.
That's right. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching or listening on iTunes or YouTube or wherever, give us your best rating if you think we deserve it.
If not, then we'll try harder.
Yeah, I guess we'll do better. Give us some constructive feedback.
There you go. I like that. On Twitter or wherever. On YouTube, under the VODs, wherever you want to do it at.
Yep.
All right, guys. Until next time, stay salty.
Stay salty.